In this video, we are going to build the carabiner top. All right, this will be the first of I believe 3 videos to get this part fully built. All right, so we're going to start on a blank canvas. We're going to create our components, new component, and we're going to call this carabiner top. Okay. Make sure that carabiner top is active. And then we're going to create a sketch on the XZ plane. We're going to make a circle centered at the origin, 0.515 in diameter. There it is. Finish the sketch. We are going to then create or construct an offset plane from the XZ plane. And we're going to bring that up. And it's going to come up 0.375 inches. We're going to create a new sketch on that plane. And what we're going to sketch here is we're going to sketch a rectangle, but don't select the 2-point. Go to Create. Go down to Rectangle. We want the center rectangle. So we're going to start on that center. All right, and then here's the dimensions. The left to right dimension there is 0.3. I can hit the Tab key to go to the top to bottom dimension. That's going to be 0.45. Okay. All right, and so there is what it would look like, okay, when all is said and done. But let me go back into the sketch. Get that top view. There we go. What we're going to do now is we are going to fillet the corners of this rectangle. So I'm going to come up here to fillet, pick the corners. We want the fillet to be 0.1, and I'm going to go around and do all 4 corners, or in other words, fillet all 4 corners. Okay, there it is. Go ahead and finish the sketch. All right, now we're going to create a loft. So create loft from the circle to what we just drew, and click OK. Now if I rotate this around, I have this vertical line, and you might as well. It might be in a different place. That is okay. All right, now we're going to create a new sketch on the YZ plane, which is this plane here. And what we're going to draw, we are going to draw an ellipse. So create ellipse. I'm going to kind of center it right here. We're going to dimension this all in a second. There we go. Okay. First thing to dimension is from the center to the origin. And that is going to be at 0.975. Zoom out a little bit. Okay. Now, before I dimension the major minor axes, I'm going to put a vertical constraint on the center of the ellipse and the origin. Now we'll finish dimensioning it. So from top to bottom here, this major axis, we are at 1.3. And then from left to right here, we are at 0.75. And there's our ellipse. We are going to offset the ellipse inside by negative 0.15. It's going to look like that. Go ahead and finish the sketch. I am now going to create another offset plane from the XZ plane, and I'm going to offset that. It's going to end up coming up 0.975. And so that should take us right to the middle of that ellipse. We're going to create a new sketch on that plane. Okay. I want to rotate this around. Okay, so it looks like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, let me go back here. All right. When you initially put the sketch on there, it's going to look like this, but I want to rotate it around so I can look at it like this for a second. And I'm going to create a projection. And what I want to project is this minor axis right here. I'm going to project that minor axis and click OK. Now I'm going to go back to the top view and I'm going to rotate it this way. And I am going to draw a line. I'm going to draw a line right here. I want to make that a construction line, so I want to click on it and come over here to the sketch palette and click construction line. A couple things about that construction line. Let's dimension it from this point, so this point to the line. All right, now when I dimension this, come to dimension from my construction line to that point. Let me try that again. So you want to make sure you grab the point here. There we go. And we want that distance to be 0.175. We want the length of that line to be 0.3. All right, and then we're going to use that horizontal and vertical constraint. And we're going to hold down the shift key so that we get to the center of our line. And then we want to center that with the origin. Click OK. All right, so there's where our construction line is going to end up. And now we're going to draw an arc. So create an arc, 3-point arc from each endpoint. And we'll bring it down. Okay. All right, next I'm going to draw an arc. So I'm going to create an arc, 3-point arc, from one end to the other, and then to the end of our what looks like a purplish line there. And click OK. Then we're going to draw 2 smaller arcs. Let me zoom in here. So create another 3-point arc. And we're going to go from the end to now this point here. Make it about that big for now. And then we're going to make another one over here from that corner to that same point. And I don't want it to snap to anything, so I'm just going to be careful. Okay, I'm going to use the equal constraint. So I'm going to click the equal sign here and then click those 2 smaller arcs. And then I'm going to dimension this one here. And that radius is going to be 0.2. Finish the sketch. Okay, so now we're ready to create a sweep. So I'm going to create sweep. I want to choose these 2 profiles. Back, create sweep. That profile. You might have to zoom in to get them in that profile. For the path, I'm going to pick the outside. And it's probably going to default to cut. Make sure you select join and then select OK. All right, and there it is. Again, you might have some lines on here, and that's quite all right. Now, next we're going to connect the base to what we just swept. So I'm going to extrude. I'm going to select the top face. I'm going to change extent type to to object. And I'm going to click on the bottom right here. Now, you might get an error. If you do get an error, come up here to the extend and click change it from to selected face to adjacent faces. And it should work fine. And click OK. All right, we're going to create another offset plane. So construct offset plane from the YZ. And we are going to just come a little bit this way, 0.155. Let's create a new sketch on that plane. Be careful to select that one. And we're going to draw an ellipse a little bit bigger than the one we have. There we go. Okay. Let's dimension this. So from the center to the origin, it's going to be 0.975. Let's hit a horizontal vertical constraint again between the center and the origin. The longer distance here from top to bottom is going to be 1.3. Then the minor axis, so from left to right, that is going to be 0.75. All right, so what we did is we just redrew this outside ellipse. We can't project it. That outside one, it just becomes, it doesn't come through very, very well. Now we're going to create a projection of the inside ellipse. Okay, now when you do this, it might take multiple selections. So as you can see here, what's highlighted is only about 3/4 of that ellipse. So I got to click that, then come down here and finish the ellipse there, and click OK. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to create the opening for the clip. And we're going to start that by drawing a line from the top here out to the left, and another line from the bottom here out to the left. And what we want to do with both of those, we want to make those both construction lines. So if I click on both of them by holding down the Control key, I can come over here and select construction. Okay, now I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to draw a couple lines here connecting that side to the purple inside that I projected. These are regular lines. And then I want to come down here and do the same thing. I want to make sure not to get any constraints. So if it comes up parallel, that's not what we want. I'm going to make sure it's not parallel to what I see above. Now we're going to add some dimensions here to make sure these are in the right spots. So from this point to that construction line there is 0.425. And then from that lower point to the construction line is 0.55. Come down here from that point to our construction line. It is 0.425. And then from this point to my construction line is 0.4. We can finish the sketch, rotate it here. And what we're going to do now is for this profile, we're going to extrude a cut all the way through. So extrude, pick that profile there, drag it through, and click OK. And so this is the first of, I think, 3 videos for the Carabiner top.